Representative Jamaal Bowman of the Democratic Party is apparently in big trouble for pulling a fire alarm in Congress. Now, there's a news article that states that Jamaal Bowman pulled a fire alarm in the Cannon House office building on Saturday, about an hour before the House passed a stopgap measure to fund the government ahead of the midnight deadline. And he was accused of doing so in order to delay the vote. So he was accused of pulling the fire alarm to delay the vote, although his office representatives said that he simply did so by accident. Now, the problem is, as far as legal consequences are concerned, this could be a big issue leading to criminal charges. Now, for those who don't know, Jamaal Bowman is a congressman who has taken up a lot of column inches in newspapers for his incredibly effervescent and somewhat animated and aggressive style where he shouts down other congresspeople and politicians. However, even though those antics may play well for some of his supporters, what he did is actually considered potentially potentially criminal, and he could be facing charges as a result of it, because pulling a fire alarm for no good reason is actually against the law in the District of Columbia. So the code of the District of Columbia, section 22-1319, states that a false alarm hoax can actually be punishable by up to 6 months in prison. And the wording of the code says that it shall be unlawful for any persons or persons to willfully or knowingly give a false alarm of fire within the District of Columbia. What that basically means is that you cannot pull the fire alarm and notify people falsely that there could be a potential fire, and that is a misdemeanor. However, what he did could also be considered obstruction of a government proceeding. Obstruction of a government proceeding, that's a federal charge, which may result in felony charges. Under Title 18 of the U.S. Code, Section 1505, it states that whoever corruptly or by threats of force or by threatening letter or communication influences, obstructs, or impedes or endeavors to influence the due and proper administration of the law under which any proceeding is being had before any department or agency of the United States, is potentially guilty of a crime for which you could face up to 8 years in prison. Now, just for the sake of clarity, pulling that fire alarm during congressional business was actually considered, or could be considered, impeding the U.S. governmental proceeding, which would fall squarely under that statute and mean that what Jamaal Bowman did was against the law. Congress people have to really take these things seriously. You can't think it's a joke to pull a fire alarm at the age of, I'm assuming Jamaal Bowman is in his late 30s or 40s at least. By that age, you should know that, obviously, doing so is a big mistake. And it also goes back to the issue that character is of central importance. Character is important. So it'll be interesting to see how this turns out, because an inquiry has been launched. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.